Oh boy, how did we get here? How did we get here that now we have a title for an entire group of people who have fled corporations? And that is corporate refugees. Who are those? I'm certainly one of those. Are you one of them? I have left corporations because I just saw how broken the system was. I just saw how much they didn't want my knowledge, my skills, my expertise, my experience. And they just wanted me to fit into the shape, the mold. They wanted me to be as gray as possible, to follow orders, not to question anything, not to change anything. They didn't want my ideas. And I said, why did I develop myself for years and years of studying, working, figuring things out when it is not needed? I found myself very frustrated when I saw things are broken. And I thought, you know what, I think I can figure it out. I have the skills, the knowledge, and I can make it better. And they just said, absolutely no. You just keep doing what we told you to do. Run the system as it is. Don't question anything. Don't change the status or challenge the status quo. This is how it is. So I said to myself, okay, I can't change them, so I need to change the environment. Now, if you are an employee and it resonates with you, stay with me because we are going to talk about this. And also, maybe you haven't left corporations because you just can't afford it, and that's fine. But maybe you are looking for a job. And I'm going to tell you how to look for that job because we are making so many mistakes with that. Also, if you are a freelancer or a consultant who are now out of these corporations and you are banging your head against the wall because you are finding yourself in the meeting rooms with the very same type of mindset people who you run away from, trying to get them to, give them your help, your skills and knowledge, and they just don't want anything. Also stay with me because I'm going to tell you the mistake you are making. It took me 2 years to figure it out. And also, if you are an employer, if you are a HR person, a business owner, a business leader, stay with me because you are wasting a lot of money and you have no idea how to leverage these external consultants or freelancers, the corporate refugee skills, and you are just wasting money. So there's a lot to talk about. And stay with me. I'm super excited about this topic. Don't ask me why I'm sitting on the top of my coffee table. That's because my wooden floor has been polished and I can only levitate today. So that's a weird situation. But now let's start and define what is a corporate refugee. A corporate refugee is a term often used informally and humorously to describe someone who has left the corporate world, typically because they felt constrained, dissatisfied, or burned out by its environment. These individuals may feel that the rigid structures, bureaucracy, politics, or lack of alignment with personal values in the corporate settings made it unsustainable for them to continue. I just literally described that, right? Many corporate refugees transition to alternative career paths, such as entrepreneurship, consulting, freelancing. For them, leaving the corporate world is akin to escaping a stifling environment and finding freedom in pursuing work that feels more meaningful, i.e., they can actually achieve something with the work and the energy they put in. The term conveys both a sense of humor and a bit of critique of the corporate culture, suggesting that the decision to leave wasn't just a career move, but a survival tactic. Having or being in an environment where you can offer so much and people refuse that is probably the number one reason for burnout. And we don't have data on that. People are offering up their skills, their knowledge, their ideas, their expertise, and they are constantly being rejected. So they leave. They don't want to. They are offering, but they rather choose that than, being burned out. Now, here, I would like to talk about toxic environment, because here we have dissatisfied workforce, burnout, feeling constrained, rigid structures, bureaucracy, politics, and people talk about leadership as well, toxic or toxic culture. I have written articles about it. I don't like the word toxic culture or toxic, the terminology in terms of leadership or anything, because it's all about, when you start looking at it, it's just incompetence. A competent person, leader, doesn't shout at his or her employees. A competent leader, if he or she knows that bureaucracy is hindering business and causing damage to employees in terms of progress, right? Dismantles the structure and the bureaucracy, etc., etc. A competent leader, if he sees that the system is broken, it's going to fix it. And here is not so much about the leadership, because one leader can't change. So let's talk about the company. A competent company is open to new ideas. A competent company fixes things when they see that something is broken. So what we want to talk about is really the main reason people leave is because of incompetence. The lack of competence that is driving people away. And here I would like, and we will come back to it later, here I would like to read a post out for you that was posted by a behavioral psychologist this morning, and it was spot on. So she's working as a consultant, and she noticed something, and it is so striking. And she talks about expertise. So expertise and competence, let's join them for the sake of this video, yeah? Because this is what we are looking at. Lack of competence in organizations. There are literally nobody to look up to today. So ask yourself the question, do I look up to somebody in terms of competence, expertise within my areas of work? HR, maybe you should have this KPI, because then you would immediately identify or measure the level of competence within your organizations. But here is the kicker. As organizations grow, and we have data for this, incompetence grows. So you are not a unique company. What makes you different is that you hide away from acknowledging that the organization is highly incompetent as a whole, and we will talk about it how. And organizations who understand these statistics, they recognize it and they do everything to counterbalance that growth and business growth and growth in incompetence. Because statistically speaking, the higher number of people you have, it's very difficult to hire everybody to be expert and really, really good. So that's a normal thing. So when you start reaching 10,000 employees, now you just have chaos. And what is it that you can do to solve that problem? We will talk about it. Now, let's go to her article. And it was perfectly well articulated about competence and expertise. Why do corporates lack internal expertise? I have spent many years working in the corporate environment, and it always amazes me how they constantly look for external experts to teach them about, well, anything actually. These experts are usually elite athletes, management consultants, ex-military personnel, etc. All of whom, however well-intentioned, usually have no qualification in behavioral science and absolutely no lived experiences of the corporate world. By contrast, in my work with the military, medical, and other highly specialized organizations, I have never seen them invite a corporate leader to teach them anything. I wonder why. Why don't CEOs give pep talks to Olympic athletes on how to win gold? Why aren't corporate strategists consulting with the military to optimize their missions? Why aren't corporate HR heads teaching learning and development strategy to Formula One? Does this one-way flow of expertise reveal an inherent lack of identity or expertise within the corporate world? I believe it does. I too believe. There is an almost pathological focus on learning and development by HR departments. Departments who, in my experience, have the least experienced and qualified people in the organization, and therefore lack the knowledge and capability to understand the needs of organizations and the people in it. Hence the crazy financial spends on external experts who have little to no expertise in the services they are being procured for. Yet, to the untrained HR employee, they hold the secrets to corporate success. This is the perfect article. Now, I'm not going to disclose her name because I didn't tell her, but it's on LinkedIn and it's fantastic. So what it really means, and I talked about it so many times, that the lack of competence, especially in HR, it literally opened the door for these gurus out there who are completely incompetent. Now, let me give you a very specific example. I am an organizational psychologist. So we had to, I run Clifton Strengths and Big Five personality assessment. And I have the validity and the reliability data for both assessments because I'm prepared that one day, hopefully, inshallah, HR is going to ask me, hey, you want to put my workforce through these assessments? Give me the validity and the reliability data for these assessments. Nobody has ever asked me. Why? Because they don't have the capability, the expertise, the knowledge to know what they're supposed to ask. So in universities, we go, they teach you research and you hate it with a passion. I hated it so much. But you must learn it because when you read a research document, an academic study, you must be able to identify that, hey, this research method or this method, analytical method, is not suitable for the type of topic that you are doing. So you criticize and critique and scrutinize everything because if the method that the research was conducted is not suitable, your data is screwed. And we don't have that in organizations. So expertise and knowledge and skills is what is missing. And that's why people who have that, they are fleeing corporations because they just cannot put up with the level of incompetence. And as a result, everything is broken in organizations. Now, what does it mean for us? So the market has split. So if you are an employee, let me start with you. If you find yourself in that situation, hey, I look around and there's nobody to look up to in terms of expertise. I'm not learning from anybody. The system is broken, etc., etc. You just know that you are in an incompetent environment and that's it, right? But don't just start job hopping. Identify who are those companies that are the opposite to that. So who are those companies who are willing to fix things? Who are those companies who don't follow others, but they set the trends? Who are those companies who are doing things differently? Now, there is no perfect world or workplace, but don't just start job hopping and go from one job to another because 95% of companies are incompetent just due to their size. So you need to look for those. And now here I'm talking about to freelancers and consultants and all that who have these expertise. They would love to offer it to corporations, but corporations don't want to have anything to do with it. And you are finding yourself banging your head against the wall that, hey, I'm trying to help them because I know how it is, and now I'm facing exactly the same situation. Why did I bother leaving corporations? Now I'm just made myself, my life more difficult because now I need to find the work, and plus I'm exactly interacting with the same type of people, and that's your problem. Because I called my very smart friend, and I asked her, I'm like, look, if we are these corporate refugees who want to do the right thing, who we have the knowledge, the skills, the expertise, and we are happy to face the truth, the fact that, hey, everything is broken and we have a big job in front of us to fix it, are we the right people to go to these companies and help them? We just fled from them because they don't want to have anything to do with it. And she said, no, you are the right person to help these 5 to 10% of companies who are competent, who are open to new ideas, who want to fix things, who want to address challenges, who don't hide away from their problems, who don't mind dismantling the entire system and do it from scratch and do it again. And they don't mind doing the right and the hard work that it requires to put things in place. So if you are facing this situation that you are just banging your head against the wall and then you sit there like me 2 weeks ago with this head of HR who said to me, oh, it takes 6 months to fix the corporate culture. And I knew immediately I'm in the wrong meeting room. This guy is just so below the required level of competence to fix this organization. And trust me, this is a big organization, not so big, 2,000 employees, with major issues related to hate people. And I offered my help. And he says, he had all the excuses and you know, but it doesn't matter. So based on that, I'm like, I'm in the wrong environment. I don't even want to convince you that you need me. I'm not Nanny McPhee. If you can't recognize what you need, it's because the level of competence. So even if I come here, you're just going to, all we're going to do is argue about it. So companies, now I'm coming to you. If you are, the problem is twofold that you are having, or no, there is one major problem, to be honest. The market is flooded by incompetent people. And that's the truth. Incompetent people who have no experience, she just talked about it. They have no experience in the corporate world, maybe. They have no experience in the field that they are talking about. They have no expertise and experience, both, very important. Plus mindset. So I always go for, do you have an experience? Do you have an expertise? And do you have the mindset to change things? If one of them is missing, it's very difficult. Mindset is very critical because even if you don't have the experience or the expertise, you're going to deploy people who have, because what you want is change. So these three things. And the market is flooded with incompetent people. I know double PhD person, a clinical psychologist specialized in well-being, happiness, head of research, etc., who are being called into corporations and being asked to deliver a gratitude jar activity. Now, is this really what you want to pay for? Is this really what you... This shows that you are incompetent because you can't leverage the competent person's competence. And you're using that person and you are paying for something that you should never pay for. And if you really want to do the gratitude jar activity, you can do it internally with your incompetent people. Now, but let's go back to the original problem. So the market is flooded with incompetent people who are all about, and they match with because this is what I told my friend. I'm like, oh my God, there are a lot of incompetent gurus out there who are just cashing in using HR's incompetence to be able to analyze and identify if this is what it's needed. And she said, don't worry about them. Incompetent companies will find these incompetent people who are all about quick fixes, who are all about any kind of intervention that makes no difference in anybody's life. I'm not going to go into details. You can think for your industry. I can only talk about HR. So in HR is once a year engagement surveys, some activities in the name of engagement, but not looking into the problem, right? Now, so they will find each other. If you are a competent consultant, leave them alone. They are not your market. Let them suffer as they are. They're going to go around in circle. All they do, the companies are giving money to these guys. They are making money. I know it's frustrating, but nothing will ever change in this environment. Then you have the competent companies and the competent consultants that should find each other. And these are the competent consultants who are going to tell you that ask them, why did you leave the corporate world? And then you will immediately see in their answer if they are competent or they are just out there making money. I don't have a problem making money. I wish I could do this. I come here, I sell whatever you want me to sell. I do whatever you want me to do. Give me my money and I go home. I don't like that because I want to think that whatever I do will have some sort of impact, right? So those people, ask them, they will tell you, look, this system is broken. You need to fix this. That's going to take 2 years to fix. That is a difficult thing to do. that is, this area, you're going to have to fire the person. I often tell HR people, look, this, or CEOs, you're going to have to fire that person. So they will tell you everything that you don't want to hear. But this is where you have to look. The solution is always where you don't want to look. There is no quick and easy solutions when the system is systematically broken. System is systematically broken, it doesn't even make any sense, but where the system is broken. So if people want to have a specific change, and they will tell you, or you want to have a specific change, and this expert, this corporate refugee says, that's not how you fix it. I can do it for you if you want it, but that's not the solution. So you want people who will question what you want from them. You want people who will say, look, it's not going to be easy. It depends obviously what you want, but most of the time it's not an easy, quick solution. And those are the people you want. But once you bring them in, allow them to do the job. Don't ask them to run activities and all that kind of things, or whatever you are doing, or workshops. Sometimes you need a workshop, but it's always just a start. It's not the end. Workshop is just the start of everything. It's not an end. If you think that you bring in people, experts, to have workshops, keynote speeches, and that's going to change anything in organizations, no. So if a person doesn't say, hey, I'm going to run this workshop, because that will kickstart the movement that you want to achieve or drive. But that's not going to solve. If the person says that to you, that's a good person. That's a competent person. If the person says, yeah, let's run training workshops and it's all going to be good, that's an incompetent person. And that's it. That's it. But the other problem is here, that even these experts, they have to make money. So sometimes we take the job knowing that, hey, it's not going to make any difference. We try our best, but if companies don't want, once again, reject solution and expertise, we also get very demotivated. So look for people. I always say, people who are allowed at organizations, and many of them are with you. You don't even need to look outside. So I always say that people who are allowed, demanding change, bringing ideas, challenging the status quo, pointing out what is not working, those are your people. They might come across as annoying and complaining and negative, but they are still engaged. The ones, and it also applies to experts and the corporate refugees. The ones that are really annoyed by, hey, we can change this and you don't want to, those are engaged. They are passionate about their job and what they do. And the one just says, oh yeah, we're going to run team building activities and whatever it is, and then it's all going to be great. Or they are selling you the next team building activity or the next training session or the next whatever intervention, yoga classes. They are just all about money. So you need to be able to identify and call experts. Don't call names. Don't call just because somebody was in the military and coming into the organization to give speech. About what? So, corporate refugees. It's not easy. But you can leverage them. Even within, if you still have them, don't drive them away. Identify. And if you hire one for consultancy or your freelance work to help you to replace or bring in the expertise that you are missing, then don't force them to do things that they run away from. Because you're just going to demotivate. And also, the kids are up. And also, these people are considering leaving leaving the industry altogether because they said, you know what, it's an insult for me to compete on this market with these people who don't even have the qualification, the expertise, or the experience. And they are taking all the businesses because they are offering quick solutions to companies, and companies want that. But remember, those are the incompetent companies. You need to look for the competent ones, because the competent ones will want to do the hard work with you for months and months and years. I hope that helped. And yeah, know who you work with. Know who you work with. You have a lot of corporate refugees out there, and even within your organization, find those ones and don't drive them away, because they are extremely useful, but only for competent companies, because competent companies can leverage competence. Incompetent companies can't leverage competence. They're just gonna play around with the other incompetent ones. Bye.